Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about Coyote Hills. Now this was, I guess you could call, a failed pilot. It was supposed to be on a streaming site called Rivet TV, something I've never heard of before. I have no idea what happened to Rivet TV. After I'm doing all this recording stuff, I will check to see if that site's even still up. I'm actually gonna be doing something quite differently soon. Like instead of doing shows that like animated shows people have forgotten about, or reviewing shows, or like shows that I like, or the 4 R's of Hollywood, which I still haven't finished. I got 2 down, 2 more to go. I'm gonna start doing something that reviewing unaired pilots of TV shows that I saw, some that I thought was pretty okay and should have made a show, and reason why other ones didn't. Only because like when I was researching this one show a while back, I started researching other unaired pilots, and I was just like very curious. And with some of these shows, you can totally tell why they didn't make it to air. I've actually started this with another one called called Secrets of a Small Town, and that should be uploaded like by now. If not, then I think it's uploaded now. I think because I'm recording this now, and I haven't. Okay, what is the thing? I haven't edited anything. I just recorded it. I made the pictures. I just haven't put it through like the video making machine type thing app. So yeah, so that should be up before this one is. And with Coyote Hills, what got me interested in watching this, because like I said before, I've never heard of Rivet TV and something like that. I'm following this one actress, and she was in the show called I Am Frankie. I love I Am Frankie. It was on Nickelodeon. It lasted for 2 seasons. It should have lasted longer. It was an adaptation of a Spanish show. And she was in the 2nd season of this. And so, when this pilot got made and on this new streaming app that nobody's never heard of, they were trying to like advertise to get people to do it. So basically what it was this. They had a bunch of unaired pilots on this. The app doesn't even have like an app. It's on like the web page. So you had to like watch it on like the computer or a device. So I just Bluetoothed it to my like TV. And so since it didn't get picked up, now somebody has uploaded it to YouTube, so you can watch it on YouTube. And so like what it was is that they had a bunch of unaired pilots and they wanted you to vote on them. And I guess whichever one made it got to come to like a series. Seeing how this has not made it to a series, it did not get picked up. And there's reasons why. There are some slight flaws in this pilot. And also it has tropes of like your typical teen mystery, murder mystery drama. All these shows need to stop copying off one another. It's getting a bit ridiculous and stuff. And when you see the same thing over and over and over again, then it gets kind of mundane. You know what I'm saying? And one thing I've noticed about this pilot is that it tried to copy the success or alleged success of Riverdale. And I say allegedly because I don't think that's a good show. It was solid the first season. It was okay during the first half of the second, but after that, I got out. And I never went back. Although I am curious to see Sabrina on the show, so when this 5 event thing happens, I will only watch the Sabrina episode. Even though I'm not a fan of the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, I still like the actress, and I'm kind of curious to see what they're gonna do bringing a witch onto this show. But other than that, I have no idea what's going on in that show because I gave up. The showrunner, the creator of the artist stuff, he's an idiot. That man don't know what he's doing. Riverdale got its success because it had bad ratings when it aired on TV, but people was watching it on the app. And they was watching it like on Netflix and the CW app. That gained a cult following, and then it went nuts after that. And so it has diehard fans. And those are the ones that are struggling to keep it alive. And plus, other people watch this show and review this show. I don't. But even though they don't even like the show, they review it because, it still gets them likes and ratings and clicks on their videos. And plus, when it comes to the people of Riverdale, even the stars of that show know it's bad. Even the network knows it's bad. But the thing is, as long as people are watching, Because you can watch it for love, you can watch it for hate, you can hate watch it. It's still getting views and it's still getting ratings, nevertheless. And because it's getting watched, then it's getting ratings. So it's always going to get renewed and stuff. And of course, even bad news is better than no news. So that show's gonna be on for a good while. But yeah, Coyote Hills. It tried to be Riverdale in the sense of you have characters that are like a bunch of teens and they're constantly hanging out at a like burger diner. And you always see like the football players with their jackets on. And it's just like how often do you see a teenager hang out at a diner? And they have like it feels so 1950s. Like it's old school mixed with new school. And the main character, she busts out like, a tape recorder and starts recording. She has an old school camera. But I'm pretty sure I seen a smartphone in this episode. I'm gonna have to like, double check and everything. So either it's doing the whole old school, new school like Riverdale, or it is set in the old school. And I just thought I saw a smartphone, but I'm pretty sure I saw a smartphone. And not only that, but it has your stereotypical characters. It has the stuck-up hot girl, and you have the new girl who's in town, and she's kind of like this awkward outsider, quirky, cute girl who like tells people off, and she's too cool to be with the cool kids, so she's with the outside kids and the outside kids, but she's a little too cool for that. So she's in the mix of the middle, the kind of annoying type you always see, like the nerdy hot girl who just doesn't fit in type thing. You have your LGBT who's out and about and want their lover to be out and about, but no, that LGBT person will stay in the closet. You have your stereotypical white football player with the big poofy hair and who's supposed to be with the hot girl, but instead he sees the new girl who's strange and he wants to be with her. And so it's like it has like all these stereotypes and stuff, and all these tropes. And then the writing sometimes is a little weird, and the acting isn't so great. So I kind of see why this didn't get picked up. It's interesting, but it's nothing to shake the tail feather at. Okay, so I just rewatched it, and yes, it is very much like Riverdale. There was a smartphone there. So it's kind of weird. It's like this is a huge Riverdale ripoff. They have smartphones in this universe, but you rarely see them. Just like with Riverdale, you rarely see like their technology and stuff. The clothes that they wear is very new school, but you always see like the jocks in their jackets at the like diner. Like how often do you see a bunch of teenagers heading out and like hanging at a diner? Also, the teenagers at this school, they like to go to the old arcade place, which is in like the diner. And it's like, it's these old school arcade things. Like yeah, they still have things like that for kids. Like you go to a place like CC's Pizza, Chuck E. Cheese, yeah, you're bound to see like an arcade thing. But it's very rare, you know what I'm saying? And so it's like, they're trying to like capture what makes Riverdale Riverdale. And they doing the whole murder mystery thing like Riverdale. Only problem is, nobody in the entire show is trying to figure out the murder mystery except for the cop. And that is it. The teenagers just do like teenager like crappy stuff. And even our main character, cause like before I watched this, I watched the trailer to see was it interesting. I'm like, okay, yeah, it's interesting, so I'll watch the show. The way the trailer makes it seem is that you see this couple, and then talking about these missing kids, and then you see like the main girl with the little recording device, and it looks like she's trying to solve the murder. But however, when you watch this, it's completely misleading. She's not trying to solve nothing, and it's just it's just a regular teen drama that just so happens to have a murder mystery in it that nobody's trying to solve except for the cop, and that's what the cop is supposed to do. And so like, yeah, and then so the main girl, she has like a tape recorder. She also has an old school camera from like the old like 60s and stuff. I'm just like, Well, this is so Riverdale. And then what makes it even worse is the stereotypical characters, like I told you before. You have, let's see, the main girl, Tessa. She's a cross between Jughead and Betty. She works on the newspaper back at her old school. And so, like, she also narrates towards the end, similar to Jughead. She is literally the outcast of the show. She's this moody, like, outcast of a girl. She's rude to everybody for no apparent reason. No matter who it is, she's rude to, except for this one girl who's kind of like a bad girl, and she befriends her for some. She tries to befriend her for some strange reason. Then they like pair together for an even dumber reason I will get to later. So, like, then you have the other characters. Cheryl Blossom character is Regina on the show. She is the cousin of Tessa. She is as mean come. She is the hot girl. She thinks she can get whatever she wants. She's also the cheerleader. Then you have the Viola character. She is like the Tony Topaz of the show. She is mixed. She is out and about. She doesn't care if nobody knows she's a lesbian and stuff. And she is also she also has a huge crush on the cheerleader girl. The cheerleader girl, Jenny, she's the best friend of like Regina. She's the closeted lesbian. She does not want nobody to know. That's how Cheryl was early on in the beginning. Mateo, he's just like the jock, like the one with the fawn hair, the one that everybody wants but can't get. It's the one Regina wants, but instead of like he's the head football dude. So you think him and Regina be like hooking up and everything. It just makes sense. But no, he wants the outcast girl, the awkward girl, the strange girl. He wants Tessa and everything. I'm not really sure on Riverdale who he reminds me of. I'm just gonna go with Archie because you know Archie was on football and he was the main dude, but this dude's not the main dude, but it just reminds me a little bit of Archie, maybe a little bit of Reggie. We have Lucas. He's kind of like the emo dude. He let's see, Tessa kind of has a thing for him. He wants Tessa to join like the newspaper thing. And so, like, the only characteristic he has from any Archie character is Kevin. He's not gay, but there's a possibility he could be slight or bi or something like that. But what makes him similar to Kevin is that Kevin's dad is the sheriff, and his mom is the sheriff on the show. Let's see, when Viola and Tessa become friends, they try out for cheerleading. Gee, who does that sound like? Could it be Riverdale with Betty and Veronica? Like, remember that opening from the Riverdale first episode? There's Ricky, the super stereotypical gay character. He is Kevin of the show. He is best friends with Viola, and you know that's similar to the whole like Betty Kevin thing. Like the dude is a huge stereotype. Even the way he runs and everything, he's a huge gay stereotype and stuff. He has no friends at school except for Viola, and he's so happy to finally talk to somebody else, which is Tessa. And it's like, and so it's just this is Riverdale, the extreme watered down version of it. And it's not a very good pilot at all. Like, I see why this did not get picked up by like anywhere, because this just isn't good at all. How you gonna make a murder mystery show when nobody's trying to solve the murder mystery? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just so weird. And then it's just like, oh man, like, this is just not a very good show. I mean, it could have been very interesting, but when you see what it's trying to copy, it's just a blatant ripoff. And like, oh man, the acting is so in this. However, the lead girl, I hate to say this, but her acting is not good at all. It just really isn't. But let's get into this now. So, this show was created. Sebastian Sarantina. He was the creator, writer, and director of this episode. Normally, that's a little overkill. Like, normally you just want to do one of those things, You don't want to do everything because then nobody can come in and correct whatever it is you might have messed up on. And so when you have that much power and you have a vision and your vision doesn't turn out good, that's when you need somebody to interfere and be like, hey, you might want to change this. But he didn't have nobody like that, you know? Now, the whole Rivet TV thing. Yes, I did check that out. That is no longer a thing. It came out last year around March. This show came out last year. Um, they had two other shows they were trying to like green light as well, and nothing became of those two either. This was a failed app. This was a failed thing. It later got sold to something called Devo TV. They say, oh, it's coming soon. They said that last year. That with the pandemic, probably okay, with the lackluster shows, the pandemic, and nobody being able to really watch this because you have to like watch it on like your devices rather than like a TV. Because like, yeah, I know young people like watching stuff on their cell phones and stuff, but TV is where to go. And so with that, and it was a failed thing. So that's no longer a thing. So, but they did upload all three of their shows to YouTube on their thing. I will put the link in below. So just like the trailer starts off with, they say a young couple's gone missing. Now we see a young couple, and I assume that these were teenagers because they look like, you know, your stereotypical 20-year-olds playing like teenagers. No, these are actually in fact adults. They are a married couple. They have a kid. Their kid is being babysat. The couple, they're just trying to like, you know, have some time alone away from the babysitter, so they park near like a ravine and stuff. And so they're drinking and then they're making out, and then the woman hears something. So the husband goes to investigate. She can no longer see him in the woods. She goes to investigate. You see the camera view from the inside of the car. I like that. That's some nice visuals. You need something different than the same mundane stuff all the time. Then you hear one gunshot, and that's it. Then you slowly see her rise up from the view of the car, and then she like pancakes flats down, falls down the ground, like just like jumps up in the air and pancake flop to the ground. Not sure why. Was she hit by the bullet and tried to get up, but then was in shock and fell down that way, or was it something else? Don't know. But here's the interesting thing: two people go in the woods. You hear a gunshot. Only one person comes out. Why weren't there two gunshots? These two people went missing. The body's never been found. There's your mystery right there. And that's all you're going to get from this show when it comes to a mystery. Now, this happened back in 2007. A couple of years passed, and now it's 2020. And we see a girl. She gets out of the taxi cab. She's in an extremely nice neighborhood. Oh, by the way, the town is called Coyote Hills. It's an extremely like nice neighborhood she's in. This girl is Tessa. She whips out her recorder and she starts recording like an investigator. I'm just thinking to myself, why is she doing that? If she's not trying to solve like any type of murder. Now, oh wait, by the way, her parents were the couple in the beginning of this episode. So then that made me think, okay, she's in town investigating, trying to find out what happened to her parents. No. Turns out she goes to this house. Her cousin, Regina, opens the door. Regina is extremely stuck up, extremely rude. She's the Regina George of the show. She does not want her cousin there. She makes fun of her, talking about how your parents are missing and how your how grandmother has Alzheimer's and like can't take care of you no more, and she died from that. And it's kind of like, dude, what in the world? Either like, and this is like, so she don't want her cousin there, so that's why she's in town. She's not there to investigate anything. She's there to go to school because her grandmother can no longer take care of her and she has no parents. Now I don't know if that's Regina's grandmother. It could have been like on one or the other side of the family. However, This is Regina's first time meeting her cousin. And it's kind of like, okay, the girl parents went missing. They're all from the same town, but Tessa had to go live in New York with the grandmother. Why couldn't Tessa just go live with her uncle? By the way, her uncle loves her to death, extremely nice. How did he raise a girl like Regina? Who knows? So then we get a scene when it's Regina and she's there with Jenny, and they're in the room and they're talking about how she doesn't want her cousin there, and then they're talking about Tessa's parents and talking about how, like, they went missing, blah blah blah. And they start talking about how, like, oh, we heard, like, your cousin's mother, your aunt, was not a very nice person, and blah 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 blah. So then it kind of sets up a little bit. You think that would set up more for the mystery, right? That we hear that her mother wasn't a very liked person in town and that somebody might have went after her. Well, there's no follow-up on that, so we don't know. We get a scene with Tessa. She's walking around like her new room and she's putting her stuff up, and she whips out that old-fashioned school camera. I don't understand why. And it doesn't explain why she has a camera. It explains why she has a tape recorder, kinda, because she works on the newspaper, but she writes articles. She don't take pictures. Like, you have two different people doing that. I should know. I used to work in, like, the yearbook staff when I was in high school. And so yeah. But and so, like, she has the picture of her parents. So those are the people from the beginning of the episode. And so she's really sad, but like, what doesn't make no sense is kind of like, why isn't she recording stuff on her cell phone, like the recording device part? It doesn't make sense why she has a recorder. It's because they're trying to rip off Riverdale, and they're trying to be like old school, like 90s, 80s or something. Well, if that's so, then they should have said it in that, like, time era, not the current day. So, like, Regina and Jenny, they're at, like, the diner. And it looks like almost like the Riverdale diner, too, on the outside and inside. So, they're there, and they meet up with some boys. One of the boys is Mateo. And Regina's talking about how, like, we heard you beat up some guy with a metal pipe and everything. He's kind of like the aloof kind of person. He's not all there in the head. He's just a dumb jock. And, so then they see her dad and Tessa come in. She is not happy. She makes a huge scene in front of the entire diner, letting everybody know she don't want her cousin there. And so then her cousin decides she ain't gonna take that. But when she says that into the camera, breaking the fourth wall. That don't make no sense. So what is she, Zach Morris now from Saving the Bell? So with her awkward self, she goes over to the table and just starts razzing off and everything in a weird, awkward kind of way. Like, you know how, like, those kids that aren't, like, very cool, they're kind of nerdy, but they're trying to sound, like, hip and cool and they're, like, talking smack to you? It's like that. And so then she's talking about something about, like, how she can get a guy to just buy her ice cream or some crap like that. Next thing you know, as Regina is, like, trying to, like, talk to Mateo, trying to get with him, he's just kind of like, I don't want you, I want your cousin. He wants the awkward girl. So what does he does? He tries to smooth her. He buys her ice cream. She tells him she was not being literal and everything. She's being her rude, typical self. She is not a very good protagonist. She is so rude, you just want to walk through that screen and slap her or something, or glue her lips shut. She is not a very good character, and she's supposed to be the protagonist. Regina is the antagonist, but they are very similar because they're so rude. And so, like, yeah, so it's just like he's falling for her and she just thinks he's cute. And, like, that's just it, And that pisses off, of course, Regina. I will say this about this show. It does have diversity. It has a very strong Latino characters in the show. And not only do they talk, but sometimes, like, they will talk Spanish. And, that's very cool. Like, you don't see that in modern day, like, television or anywhere, So that's kind of cool because there are other characters of races in here, but the main ones are Latino. So that's really cool. I like that. Now the sheriff goes to, like, an old lady's house and she's asking her, well, what did you see? Because there are two kids now missing. This is not the couple from the beginning of the show because that happened like over a decade ago. And so the ladies are telling, I didn't see nothing, this and that. But then as the sheriff about to leave, the old lady does a weird thing. She has her back turned and she starts reciting like a nursery rhyme that's for the city. It had to do with them two missing kids from a decade ago. And she tells them it's happening again. It's an awkward scene. It's meant to be creepy and scary, but it just comes off as like desperate, scary. They try a little too hard to make it look and feel creepy with the old lady looking all like disturbed and everything because they try to be mysterious. So while they're at school, the teacher is talking about something that happened in another town and tells Tessa like, oh, you're from that town, blah, 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 blah. She's all like, so what does Tessa do? Correct her. Like the little smart mouth that she is. Why did she correct her? Because she tells her straight up. The reason why I know this is because I wrote the article. So a high school girl writes for like the local news thing, and it's just like, okay, they're trying to set her up at being the cool, like perfect type character and stuff like that, but it's not working. A guy by the name of Lucas overhears that in class and he's intrigued. Why? Because he works for the Daily Owl newspaper at the school, but he's the only person who works there. And he wants Tessa to work with him and stuff and join the team. What does she do? Be rude. Be rude. Just be rude. That's all she's doing. So she rejects him and tells him no, she ain't joining and stuff. She goes over to her locker. And as soon as she opens up, somebody has written some bad stuff in red paint. And so, like, she's pissed by this. She thinks it's her cousin, because her cousin is really the only person who doesn't want her there. And then so she just walks with her cousin and confronts her. And they go at it. And so they're getting ready to literally fight until it's broken up by the principal. But he doesn't want Regina. He wants Tessa. So, for some reason, Tessa thinks nobody in town wants her there, but everybody's been friendly to her so far, except for her cousin, until she meets the new girl. So, for some bizarre reason, Tessa's rude and mean to everybody, but she wants to befriend this one girl with an afro. And this is the girl, the actress, that got me watching this show, who was advertising it and stuff. So, this actress, her name's Viola. She's the out and about lesbian. Tessa is trying her best to like woo her and be like all cool and savvy and try to talk to her. Viola does not want none of this. Viola just literally like, just leave me alone and stuff like that. So the principal is talking to Tessa and he's all like, you have all these grades from like your last school and you was this and you was that. And you can go to like a really good college and you try to apply to here. So he doesn't see you as the type that's trying to be like a troublemaker. For some reason, he has a weird plan. He brings in Viola and he's all like, you two will be great friends. Y'all can learn a lot from each other. I want you two to constantly hang out. I'm going to put y'all all in the same classes. And you have to take an extracurricular activity. Why is he doing this? World if I know. It makes no sense to pair those two together, especially if one's really bad and the other one is just like a good girl with good grades. I don't know what they're supposed to learn from each other. I don't know why they paired them two together. It literally makes no sense. They don't even know each other. So they're forced into that. As they're walking down like a hall, and like she asked Viola straight up, what did you do to get in trouble? You want to know what she did to get in trouble? She saw a girl with a fur coat. Viola, being the animal lover that she is, felt she was not having that and decided to throw red paint all over the girl in her jacket. Way too extreme, if you ask me. This makes Tessa happy. It's all like, oh, you're the type of person I want to be friends with. Really? Because she doesn't seem the type of person who wants to be friends with a bad girl. But since it was for a good cause, then yeah, I guess, whatever. So then here comes Ricky and everything. And so they're chatting it up. He's happy to make a new friend. He makes friends with Tessa, even though they had the same class and she completely didn't even say nothing to him. And then he sees Mateo, who walks on over. And he's like, ooh, the cute guy, blah, blah, is walking over. He should know who Mateo is. Mateo plays football. He's the head, person of the football team. how does he not know that? Like, even if you're not even into sports, even people at school know stuff like that, you know? So anyway, he comes over and he's asking Tessa to hang out, but she's kind of like, no, I'm gonna be busy tonight doing something else. She completely lies to him. And they're all like, why did you do that? Like, he's a natural cute guy and stuff. And she's like, yeah, he's cute, but I don't want him. So anyways, now there's a school like town hall meeting with the sheriff, and she tells the kids that straight up, two kids have now gone missing. And so, like, if anybody knows anything, contact her. Tessa thinks it'll be fun to mess with her cousin. She wants to, her and Viola take that extracurricular activity of sign up for cheerleading. And this is where the cheerleading part comes on. Now, this cheerleading part is a rip from Riverdale. She's all that. Bring it on. Okay, I actually liked this part. It was actually funny, but it was so stupid and out of place. So Tessa just wanted to mess with her cousin. So she does this awkward, weird, interpretive dance routine. She does a curtsy and she lets out the dance moves. And it's the awkward most thing you ever seen. Like something from like She's All That. And then so Jenny, she's looking at like, Viola and just kind of like whispering like, what are you doing and stuff. And that pisses Viola off and she starts doing backflips. And then like just like in Bring It On, and then she walks off. And so like Regina's kind of like, well, you want to know something? Not that many people tried out, and since we're short, you two have made the team. And Tessa's like, what? So it totally backfires. So then Jenny goes into the locker room with Viola and she asks her, why did you try out for the team? Are you trying to get close to me and everything? And then the next thing you know, we see Viola kiss Jenny. Then they stop. Then Jenny just like gets on her and just starts like making out with her and stuff. And then after she stops, she's like, oh, we can't do this. Nobody can find out. And she's all like, why? I don't care. People know. But Jenny does because she's closeted. But then what's interesting is that Viola tells her we need to tell what happened. That we saw those missing kids' car and stuff. So basically, it's a flashback. When they were making out in the car, they saw the missing kids drive past them. They don't want no. Jenny doesn't want nobody to know that because she don't want nobody to know that they was in the car together making out. But she could just say they was hanging out. You know what I'm saying? So it turns out that Viola's brother is in a gang. What's the significance of that? Don't know. They sure didn't get picked up. So next thing you know, Tessa, she goes to like back to that diner. Their hangout, the diner. That's the only place apparently they have, just like Riverdale. And she's there, she gets some more ice cream, and then there's Lucas. And he's being his emo-y self, and they're talking, and she's thinking about joining the newspaper team and stuff like that. And then next thing you know, Mateo comes in, he's all like, I thought you said you were going someplace else tonight, you couldn't hang out with me. And she's all like, oh yeah, and stuff. So he's heartbroken by that. He goes and plays his video games, and there's Regina there again staring at him. It's just like, Lord have mercy. But then we see Tessa. She's at the place where her parents disappeared, and they set up the scene exactly like that. She's monologuing now while other scenes are going on, and she's in her tape recorder talking again. The next thing you know, she goes to put some flowers there at the visual place, but then she sees something. It's a car out in the woods. It has blood all in it. It's some smudges marks in the shape of a coyote because the coyote hills. And so there's blood everywhere. She sees a deed to the car, and then a light shines. It's her car. Somebody's in it, and then it ends. Mysterious. So yeah, this isn't a very good pilot. It doesn't set up what it's supposed to set up. It's just a teen drama that shoved in like a murder mystery. A murder mystery is only one person trying to solve, the person who's actually supposed to do it. And the person who you think is going to solve it isn't even trying to solve it. She's not even trying to solve what happened to her parents and stuff. It's not a very good show. And it sucks because, if they would have changed a lot around, it could have been even more interesting. It could have got picked up, Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.